I'm here with Judy Handson, and Judy is the CEO and founder of Autism Home Base, a wonderful place in Bowmanville, Ontario. And Judy has some interesting stories to tell, especially talking about her experience of living with someone who's autistic. Hi, Judy.
Hi, Jeanne. Thanks so much for coming and helping us spread some news about autism.
I am so pumped and just so honored that I can help tell this story. Your son, Eric, has autism.
Right.
And
he's complex challenges, yeah. Eric is 29, and he's essentially nonverbal. He has words, but not conversational. So, as you know, autism's a spectrum. And so Eric needs and will continue to need a lot of support through his life. So our whole focus through his life is on giving him as many tools so that he could have as many choices over his own life.
When Eric was little, when he was first diagnosed, and I suppose that was probably when he was around 2?
Yes.
What was that like for you?
Well, I had pushed and pushed for a diagnosis. And I kept going to my family doctor even before he was 2 and saying, there's just something, because my older son was 16 months older and they were just different. So I pushed and pushed for a diagnosis, and they kept saying, oh, you know, boys talk later. And I was like, it's not that though, it's not the speech, it's something else. So my doctor finally sent us down to Sick Kids, and I had a 45-minute consultation. Again, this is 30 years ago with the head of pediatrics or pediatric neurology down there. And she said, I'm very sorry, your son is autistic. There's probably nothing you can do. And then I just irrationally hated her for the rest of my life.
And I don't blame you.
Yeah, it was a long drive home from Toronto. Mm-hmm.
I'm just incredulous. Of course, a lot of light has been shed on autism over the past 2.5 decades since your son was diagnosed. Yet still, it's astounding to me that a doctor would be so negative right from the get-go.
Yeah, I mean, not to tell tales, but she actually said at the time, there's probably nothing you can do, but you've got another son, you should focus on him. And which was maybe she did this on purpose. It was the right thing to say, because I was like, well, I'm going to prove you wrong. I think autism is a very cruel sort of diagnosis, because a 2-year-old with autism looks a lot like a 2-year-old in many cases. And so, you know, there's not like a blood test you can do, or there's not like a chromosome that they've identified that I'm aware of that says somebody's autistic. So lots of people, like well-meaning friends or family or doctors or, you know, therapists would say, oh, you know, he's going to be fine, or no, I don't think that that's autism, because to me autism looks like such and such. And so it's been sort of, over the years, it's been almost like a slow reckoning to say, you know, how am I going to give him tools so that he can have some choice in his life.
What I think is especially daunting, perhaps, is that there is such a broad spectrum when it comes to autism. So as you say, you don't know, like, what does that mean?
Right.
You know, is it the kind of thing that, you know, maybe changes as one ages? Is it the kind of thing, you know, for some people, it isn't that daunting at all, because, you know, a lot of people with autism are totally independent, and they lead fabulous lives, of course. And they just see the world through a different lens, perhaps.
People with autism are politicians and doctors and lawyers, and, you know, they have families or they don't have families, and, you know, teachers. So there's no sort of trajectory. And, you know, I know people that have done all kinds of sort of therapeutic interventions, or people have tried, like, you know, megadosing vitamins. I know people who have done lots of stuff, and they're still profoundly autistic. And I know people who have really not done anything, and you know, they're very independent. You know, they live fabulous lives and have control over their destiny. So I think as parents and family members, that's what you want. You want them to be able to say yes or no and to make choices.
What do you think bothers autistic adults the most about the fact that they are autistic?
Well, I mean, there's probably some physical things, but it's about, in my opinion, and I'm just one person, I feel that it's other people's perception. So the thought that this is the way you're supposed to act or behave or feel or react to a situation. And if you react differently than what somebody has decided is the typical way to react, then that's the wrong way. And I think the whole discussion around being neurodiverse is that there isn't a typical. Like what's typical? Who, I don't even know what that means. So I think the people that I know would like to have their voices, recognized and respected, and whichever way they choose to communicate, to be able to do that in a way that resonates with people.
It's almost like you really want to get into the mind of an autistic person, and you'd have to really understand just what they might be up against.
For everybody, it's different. Some people with autism have mental health issues, and they may be more poignant for them because they don't have ways to express that. Not everybody with autism has mental health issues. Some people with autism have developmental disabilities or delays, but not everyone. So it must be incredibly frustrating just to find a space that you can, be yourself in and celebrate your own existence.
Socializing, obviously, that's a big one. That's something that is so needed. I mean, I believe for we humans, we really need to socialize. We're social animals. Mm-hmm. What's it like for autistic adults, in your estimation, that may not have the right kind of arena for that kind of socialization?
Yeah, well, they talk about, the people that I'm surrounded with talk about, struggling with social boundaries or being able to sort of organize social events. So the ability to pick up the phone and call and say, oh, hi, I'm going to be at this place. I like doing this. Do you want to do it? So they might sort of lack the ability to do the logistics. I think it's about, just trying to find your tribe, like all of us. Yeah. Certainly through COVID, social isolation, the rest of the world has experienced what I think a lot of autistic adults, autistic people, and their families have experienced for a long, long time.
Judy, how can people help? How can they get involved with a place like Autism Home Base?
We're completely self-funded. So it's families that are doing all the fundraising. We write grants. We have fundraisers. Yeah, if anyone is in a position to make a donation, that would be amazing. We start from scratch every year. We don't sort of have any core funding. It's quite a unique model. We're not really a service provider. So volunteering, helping with a committee, we're always looking for peer mentors. We can't have too many people love and care about our kids. So.
Yeah, and again, it's just all such a great awareness builder too. I mean, so many people just so hungry for information and to find out more.
Yeah, if there's one kind of takeaway, I would hope that people will reach out to us. And through Zoom, there's no geographic boundaries. So if you are looking to connect in a program, you don't have to travel to Durham region to do it. You can Zoom in.
Your passion and your wisdom is all so compelling. Thank you so much for being such an inspiring person.
Thanks so much for doing this, Jeanne. Can't thank you enough.
And for bringing the world Autism Home Base and truly making the world a better place for so many. Thanks, Judy.